Picture this: $100 million yacht slicing through the crystal clear Mediterranean, champagne cascading like a golden waterfall, and the world's elite dancing beneath a sky littered with stars. But by dawn, one passenger had vanished without a trace. No scream, no splash, just silence. In their place, a trail of unanswered questions, wild theories, and a mystery that would grip the globe for decades. This is the tale of how one night of opulence became one of maritime history's most chilling disappearances. What happened aboard the Seraphina that fateful evening in July 2019? Was it murder, suicide, or something far more sinister? Stay with me as we dive deep into a case that has everything: forbidden romance, family secrets, international intrigue, and enough twists to make your head spin. By the end of this investigation, you'll understand why this case continues to haunt investigators and why some believe the truth is still hiding in plain sight. Let me introduce you to Vivienne Ashworth, the 28-year-old heiress to the Ashworth pharmaceutical empire. With a net worth exceeding $2 billion, Vivienne wasn't just wealthy, she was royalty in the world of high society. Born into privilege, but educated in responsibility, she had spent her life preparing to inherit one of the world's most powerful companies. Yet beneath the designer gowns and charity galas, Vivienne harbored secrets that would ultimately lead to her mysterious disappearance. The Ashworth family had built their fortune on life saving medications, but like many pharmaceutical dynasties, their history wasn't without controversy. Recent investigations had uncovered questionable practices in their overseas operations, regulatory violations that could have cost them billions. Vivienne, as the heir apparent, had become the public face of the company's efforts to clean up its image. But this responsibility came with enemies, powerful people who stood to lose everything if the Ashworth empire crumbled. The yacht party on July 15th, 2019, was supposed to be a celebration. The Seraphina, a 200-foot masterpiece of maritime engineering, had been chartered for Vivienne's engagement announcement to Marcus Rothwell, a British financier whose own family controlled significant portions of London's banking sector. The guest list read like a who's who of international high society: oil executives, tech moguls, aristocrats, and politicians from 6 different countries. But here's where our story takes its first dark turn. Multiple witnesses would later testify that the engagement celebration felt more like a funeral. Vivienne appeared distressed throughout the evening, frequently stepping away from the main festivities to take private phone calls. Her usual radiant smile was replaced by what one guest described as the look of someone carrying the weight of the world. The yacht had departed from Monaco at sunset, carrying 43 passengers and crew members. The plan was simple: a night of celebration while cruising the French Riviera, returning to port by morning. Security cameras captured every moment of the departure, showing Vivienne boarding arm in arm with Marcus, both dressed immaculately but neither looking particularly happy for an engaged couple. As the evening progressed, several disturbing incidents occurred that investigators would later piece together. At approximately 9 p.m., Vivienne was seen having a heated argument with her stepmother, Catherine Ashworth, near the yacht's stern. Guests reported raised voices, and what appeared to be Catherine grabbing Vivienne's arm forcefully. When questioned later, Catherine claimed they were discussing wedding arrangements, but her explanation didn't match witness accounts. An hour later, Vivienne disappeared from the main deck for nearly 30 minutes. When she returned, multiple guests noticed she had changed clothes and appeared to have been crying. Her fiancé Marcus seemed equally agitated, spending most of the evening on his phone rather than celebrating with his bride to be. One guest would later tell investigators that she overheard Marcus saying into his phone, "This changes everything. We need to move forward with the contingency plan." The most chilling detail emerged from the yacht's service staff. The head steward, a man named Paolo Benedetti, who had worked luxury yachts for over 20 years, reported that Vivienne had approached him around 11 p.m., asking about the lifeboats and emergency procedures. When he asked if there was a problem, she simply said, "I need to know all the ways of this boat." Paolo found the question so unsettling that he mentioned it to the captain, who decided to keep a closer eye on the passengers. But it was the security footage that provided the most haunting clues. At 11:47 p.m., cameras captured Vivienne walking towards the yacht's bow alone. She moved with purpose, not the unsteady gait of someone who had been drinking. In her hand, she carried what appeared to be a small waterproof bag. The cameras show her looking back toward the main deck several times, as if checking to see if she was being followed. Here's where the mystery deepens. The next security timestamp shows the same area at 12:03 a.m., just 16 minutes later, but Vivian is nowhere to be seen. The cameras had been functioning perfectly all evening, capturing every other movement on deck. Yet somehow, in those crucial 16 minutes, a woman simply vanished without a trace. The yacht's crew didn't notice Vivian was missing until nearly 2 a.m. when Marcus finally asked where his fiancée had gone. A frantic search of the entire vessel revealed something that would chill investigators to the bone. Vivian's evening purse was found in her stateroom, but inside was a handwritten note that read, "The truth is worth more than a lifetime of lies. Some secrets are too dangerous to live with." The immediate assumption was suicide, but the evidence didn't support this theory. No splash was heard, despite the yacht's quiet engines and the fact that several guests were on deck throughout the evening. The water around the yacht was searched extensively, but no body was ever recovered. Most puzzling of all, the waterproof bag Vivian had been carrying was never found, suggesting she might have planned whatever happened to her. The investigation revealed layers of deception that extended far beyond a simple missing person case. Vivian's personal laptop, which investigators seized from her Monaco apartment, contained encrypted files that took months to decode. What they found painted a picture of a woman who had stumbled onto information that could have destroyed multiple powerful individuals and institutions. The files revealed that Vivian had been secretly investigating her own family's business practices. She had discovered that Ashworth Pharmaceuticals was not just guilty of regulatory violations, they were involved in a systematic cover up of drug trial data that had resulted in hundreds of deaths across developing countries. The company had been suppressing evidence of dangerous side effects while bribing officials to fast track approvals. But the conspiracy went deeper. Vivian had uncovered evidence linking her family's company to a network of pharmaceutical giants, financial institutions, and government officials who were manipulating global drug markets. The potential liability wasn't just financial, it was criminal, with implications that could have toppled governments and destroyed entire industries. Marcus Rothwell, her fiancé, was not the innocent banker he appeared to be. Vivian's files revealed that his family's financial firm had been laundering money from pharmaceutical fraud for years. The engagement wasn't a love story, it was a business merger designed to consolidate power and hide evidence of their crimes. Vivian had apparently discovered this truth just days before the yacht party. The investigation took another shocking turn when authorities discovered that Vivian had been in contact with investigative journalists and regulatory officials in the weeks before her disappearance. She had been planning to expose the entire conspiracy, risking not just her fortune, but her life. The timing of her disappearance, just days before she was scheduled to meet with international prosecutors, was no coincidence. Three theories emerged from the investigation, each more disturbing than the last. The first was that Vivian had been murdered, either by her own family members or by hired assassins working for the pharmaceutical conspiracy. The evidence supporting this theory included the mysterious phone calls Marcus had made throughout the evening and the fact that several guests had connections to private security firms known for handling delicate situations. The second theory suggested that Vivian had faked her own death to escape the dangerous situation she found herself in. Proponents of this theory pointed to her questions about the yacht's emergency procedures, the waterproof bag she had been carrying, and the substantial amount of money that had been moved from her personal accounts in the days before the party. Several unconfirmed sightings of a woman matching her description had been reported in remote locations across South America and Southeast Asia. The third and most terrifying theory was that Vivian had been kidnapped by the very people she was trying to expose. This theory gained credibility when investigators discovered that the yacht's route had been changed at the last minute, taking it into international waters where any crime would be harder to prosecute. The fact that no body was ever found could mean she was taken alive, either to be silenced permanently or to be used as leverage against other potential whistleblowers. The aftermath of Vivienne's disappearance created ripple effects that continue to this day. Ashworth Pharmaceuticals' stock price plummeted, and the company was eventually forced into bankruptcy after multiple lawsuits and regulatory investigations. Catherine Ashworth, Vivienne's stepmother, died in a car accident just 6 months after the disappearance under circumstances that investigators deemed suspicious but couldn't prove were anything more than tragic coincidence. Marcus Rothwell disappeared from public life entirely, liquidating his assets and relocating to a non extradition country. His family's banking firm was eventually shut down by regulators, but not before billions of dollars had been transferred to untraceable offshore accounts. The fact that he was never formally charged with any crime related to Vivienne's disappearance remains one of the most frustrating aspects of the case. Perhaps most disturbing of all, several other individuals connected to the pharmaceutical conspiracy have died under mysterious circumstances over the past 4 years. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a regulatory official who had been working with Vivienne, died in a climbing accident in Switzerland. James Morrison, a journalist who had been investigating the same corruption network, suffered a fatal heart attack despite being in perfect health. The pattern is too consistent to be coincidental, yet too sophisticated to be easily proven. The maritime mystery of Vivienne Ashworth's disappearance remains officially unsolved, but the evidence suggests a truth far more complex and sinister than a simple missing person case. This wasn't just about one woman's disappearance, it was about the lengths to which powerful people will go to protect their secrets and the dangerous price of seeking truth in a world built on lies. Recent developments have added new intrigue to the case. In 2023, a former Ashworth Pharmaceuticals executive named David Chen came forward with additional evidence about the company's criminal activities. Chen claimed that Vivienne had contacted him weeks before her disappearance, asking for his help in documenting the company's crimes. He provided investigators with recordings of conversations that supported many of Vivienne's allegations, but his testimony raised as many questions as it answered. Chen revealed that Vivienne had been receiving death threats for months before the yacht party, threats that her family had dismissed as the work of disgruntled activists. But Chen's evidence suggested these threats were far more serious and came from individuals with the resources and connections to carry them out. The fact that Vivienne had continued her investigation despite these threats showed either remarkable courage or dangerous naivety. The international implications of the case have also continued to unfold. Several countries have opened their own investigations into pharmaceutical corruption networks, using Vivienne's research as a starting point. While these investigations have resulted in some convictions and regulatory changes, the core conspiracy that Vivienne was trying to expose remains largely intact, with new players having stepped in to fill the gaps left by those who were caught. What makes this case particularly haunting is the possibility that Vivienne Ashworth is still alive somewhere, living under a new identity, while the people she tried to expose continue to profit from their crimes. If she did fake her death, she would have had to abandon everything, her family, her fortune, her entire life, to protect herself from forces that most of us can't even imagine. The technology exists today to track almost anyone anywhere in the world, yet Vivienne Ashworth remains a ghost. If she's alive, she's managed to stay hidden from some of the most powerful and well connected people on Earth. If she's dead, her killers have managed to dispose of all evidence so thoroughly that not even the most advanced forensic techniques have been able to find a trace. The legacy of Vivienne Ashworth's disappearance extends far beyond the mystery itself. Her case has become a symbol of the dangers faced by whistleblowers and the lengths to which corrupt institutions will go to protect their secrets. It has inspired new legislation in several countries designed to protect individuals who expose corporate wrongdoing, though critics argue these laws are still inadequate against the kind of sophisticated conspiracy that Vivienne uncovered. As we conclude this investigation into one of the most perplexing disappearances in recent history, we're left with more questions than answers. The truth about what happened aboard the Seraphina that July night in 2019 may never be fully known, but the evidence suggests a story of courage, corruption, and consequences that extends far beyond a single missing person. The case of Vivienne Ashworth reminds us that in a world where information is power, those who seek to expose the truth often pay the highest price. Whether she's alive or dead, her story continues to inspire others to speak out against corruption, even when the odds seem impossible and the dangers are real. The maritime mystery of the Seraphina may never be solved, but its impact on our understanding of corporate corruption and the price of truth will continue to resonate for generations to come. In a world where the powerful can seemingly make people disappear without consequence, Vivienne Ashworth's story serves as both a warning and a call to action. What do you think happened to Vivienne Ashworth? Was she murdered by those she was trying to expose, or did she successfully escape to start a new life? Share your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more investigations into the world's most baffling mysteries. The truth may be hidden, but it's never truly lost.